Howdy friends, and welcome to the Yoga Mental Health Challenge, Yoga for Mental Health Challenge. I'm really excited to be sharing this journey with you. Thank you for coming on this journey with me. So we begin tomorrow. That'll be Tuesday, the 16th of May. We'll go through our 10 days, and there's a document that I've uploaded into our GroupMe, and it is Yoga for Mental Health Challenge. If you would like this document for a feeling check-in, I can upload it as well. But let me tell you, just briefly go over this. There are 6 little tick boxes at the top of this document, and you really want to go through and do at least these 6 things. So number 1, you want to set an intention for your next 10 days. Your intention will be what is your motive, your objective, your purpose. Basically, why are you doing this 10-day challenge? Set your intention around that. And if you're used to doing Yoga Nidra, then you know that when we start visiting with our heart and we set an intention, we refer to it as a sankalpa, and we create a present tense statement that begins with I am, or sometimes I feel. So as you're visiting with this, really hit pause for a moment if the answer doesn't come right away, and evaluate what your intention is for this practice, for these next 10 days. Write it down. Either grab a journal or a notebook or a few pieces of blank paper, someplace that you can be writing and journaling throughout these next 10 days. And this is just for your benefit. You're not sharing anything with me or anybody else. The second one is your heartfelt desire or your purpose in life. It doesn't have to be affiliated with yoga in any way, but what is your purpose in life? What propels you forward each day? Write that down. And then identify an inner resource. An inner resource is a thought, a feeling, an image, or a memory that you can access at any point in time, anywhere, that supports you in your life journey. I often will refer back to some quotes and things like that. So think about something like that, write it down, because when we get into a mental funk, these things that we know don't always come to the forefront. And so our mind starts putting out these other stories. And while these stories in our mind are real, it doesn't mean they're true. So write these answers down to these questions and to these thought prompts that I have provided for you, so that when your mind, or if your mind goes into a funk, you can look at what you've already written down, and that's going to be your guiding force. That's your truth to help counter those stories that start coming into your mind and go on replay. All right, and as you do that, you're going to begin to regulate your sympathetic nervous system and bring balance to your central nervous system. And then for your next 10 days, what is your goal? Is it going to be, and you'll notice that I have a dozen different things right here that you can do on a daily basis. You want to do at least one, but the more you do out of that list, the more benefit you're going to receive through the practice. So take a look at those and set your goal for the next 10 days. And, maybe on day 1, you do 15 minutes of yoga. On day 2, you log your food for the day and how it has affected your energy and your mindset. Maybe on day 3, you discontinue electronics 2 hours before bed. So look at that list and set a goal for the next 10 days and how you're going to follow through. How are you going to stick with this for the next 10 days? We have a daily log. A daily log is where we write down how we feel in that moment. So ideally you would do this first thing in the morning and again in the evening, or any time that it works in your day is the reality of it. But you want to log how you're feeling in that moment. Or I like to, before I do my yoga or my meditation, write down how I feel. And then very quickly revisit that at the end of my practice. How do I feel now? And it's really nice to be able to see that shift in the mental process and in our feelings with just that few minutes that we invested in our self-care. And then another thing that you can log on a daily basis are affirmations. So I will be including a daily quote. You're welcome to take that, use it as a prompt for your writing, as a inner resource, or maybe as a springboard to move forward into finding other affirmations or quotes and things that inspire and encourage you. And then another thing you might like to log is your food, which I just indicated a moment ago. The food we eat truly does impact who we are and how our bodies process life. So it does impact our minds and our thought processes and our mental health. So sometimes just taking one day and logging what we've eaten and how we have mentally felt and emotionally felt, physically felt in response to the food, or maybe an hour or two after we have had that food, can be very eye-opening and may indicate that we want to make some shifts in what we're actually consuming. And that includes beverages. And then the last one is at the beginning of this challenge. So the very first thing I would like you to do, and ideally at the beginning of each day, is to write 1 to 3 sentences. We're not writing paragraphs, all right? You don't have to fill a page in a journal. 1 to 3 sentences for each. How do I feel physically? How do I feel emotionally? How do I feel intellectually? And how do I feel spiritually? And remember, spiritual is not equivalent to religion or religious. So you can have a religious affiliation, you can have religious beliefs, but that does not equate to your spiritual health and well-being. A spiritual journey is separate from your religious. They might cross over, you might have them intertwined, but that doesn't make them the same. Okay? You can have individuals who do not participate in any religious activity or religious affiliations, but they have a very spiritual life, and vice versa. All right, so those are things that I wanted to bring to the forefront here and just go over quickly. Are those 6 tick boxes at the very top of the document. Do those at your earliest convenience and don't let life get in the way. You've set these 10 days aside for your mental health and well-being. So show up for yourself now that you've made that commitment. And then, pardon me, I think you can read through that dozen ways that you can support yourself. If you have any questions about those, reach out. And I will do separate videos for the pranayamas, so watch for those. I'll do a separate video for the asanas, but Hriddya, and I'll also do a separate one for the mudra. That way, if you want to just go back and watch just that, you can. So toward the end of this document, we have a little blurb about happiness hormones, and our happiness hormones directly impact our mental health. And so look at those and bring as much of those into your day, each day as you can. Your oxytocin is your love hormone, and that is boosted and supported as you socialize, pet animals, help others, and physically touch other human beings. So the hugs that you give to the people in your life, the high fives, all of that kind of stuff counts towards your oxytocin. The fist bumps. All right. Dopamine is your reward hormone. So every time you participate in one of these 12 activities that I have listed here as a self-care activity, you're getting a dopamine hit. You want more dopamine in your life? Do more activities that will boost that. Complete a task, achieve a goal. Eating food. Often we will find ourselves eating without really being hungry or realizing that we're even doing it. And it could just be an unconscious effort to get a dopamine hit. So if you find that's happening, look for other ways for that dopamine hit. Go complete a self-care activity, complete an activity, those kind of things. All right. And endorphins are our painkillers. So if you're like me, I live with chronic pain. Some days it feels very overwhelming, and other moments in the day I'm like, I don't have any pain right now. Here are things that will help you to manage pain naturally. Exercise, so get those 15 minutes of yoga in. Laughter, you can laugh while you're doing your yoga. Listen to music, you can do that while you're doing yoga. And watch a movie. I don't know if you want to watch a movie and do yoga at the same time, but I'll leave that up to your discretion. Those are all great ways to help kill pain. And then serotonin is our mood stability. And this is one we all might want a little more of, even maybe more so than the others. And that comes through mindfulness, meditation, sun exposure, and time in nature, being with nature. So I get a little bit, I mean, I can look out a window and I can see the sun and I can see nature. But when I get out in nature, that's when I'm really getting the serotonin. I can be in the sun, but if I'm covered from head to toe and have sunscreen on, I'm not really getting my serotonin boost. So we need, and it depends on your sun sensitivity, but we need some direct sun exposure without blocking out the ultraviolet rays, okay? So I'm not saying go out and get yourself burnt or anything, but we need some. We also need the vitamin D, which is a big part of that serotonin boost. And there's so much more that can be said about vitamin D, but that'll be for another day, okay? And then high fives. If you're not familiar with Mel Robbins, I recommend you go look her up. She's the creator of the High Five Challenge. And you can use high five in your comments in our group just to say, hey, I see myself, I support myself, I'm showing up for myself, and that you're still involved and engaged with this practice, with this challenge. And another one of Mel Robbins' little hacks is the 1, 2, 3 move. And again, you can find this when you go and Google her or go to YouTube and look for her. You'll find her. But the 1, 2, 3 move, if you are stagnant, struggling to get out of bed, take the next move in your day, the next activity. All you do is you out loud, you say 1, 2, 3, move. And she might use another word. I use the word move. But anyway, it means you have 3 counts and then you are active. You are doing what needs to be done. So it might be 1, 2, 3, throw the covers back and your feet are on the floor. Or maybe it's 1, 2, 3 and you've got your teeth brushed and your hair brushed. Whatever it is that you're procrastinating on, 1, 2, 3, take action. Okay? Use those hacks to your benefit, even through this challenge and outside of this challenge. I included some quotes right there in the document for some support, and I'll include others throughout the challenge. All right, so there's a quick, I hope quick, it's about 12 minutes now, but anyway, little intro into what is on that document and what your first steps would be. And hit the heart on this video when you have watched it and leave some comments about how you're getting started and how I can support you more. All right, thanks again. See you soon. Bye-bye.